fact that Stephanie White refuses to credit Caitlin Clark, especially in front of the team, like she already didn't want to give her no credit for the game winner versus the Washington Mystics when she bailed her out. Now Caitlin Clark bailed you out again, you and Kelsey Mitchell, but for whatever reason, you want to keep trying to credit Kelsey Mitchell at the podium. It's weird. It's odd. It makes no sense.
It's becoming really weird now. It's strange. It's stupid. Additionally, Caitlin Clark made the first formal announcement about it. She's leaving. Her time with the squad is over, even though the Indiana Hoosiers season is still in progress. Additionally, the explanation has been replayed and recorded on video 1,000 times. All-American basketball experts has investigated it, because what happened during that time revealed something that could no longer be hidden. Matchup with Chicago. Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell had joined forces, and the partnership's objective was to undermine, denigrate, and ultimately remove the team's greatest player ever. This was not a coaching decision. Caitlin Clark is tired of this storyline. You need to understand the pattern of disrespect that has been emerging. To understand Caitlin Clark's choice to resign over the season started in the locker room after a crucial victory in which Caitlin Clark, a freshman, scored a remarkable 30-point double-double. Stephanie White declined to comment. Standing in front of the squad, she didn't even mention her name.
Really good job. Okay, really good job. We weathered the storms. Okay, we came together. Y'all, I heard you more in huddles and in timeouts than I've heard you all year long. That matters. That matters, right? The collective positivity, the collective accountability, talking each other up, that is huge, y'all.
Caitlin Clark was not mentioned at all. Her 30-point performance went unacknowledged. Just cliches about cooperation and teamwork.
We came together going into overtime, coming together and finishing this game. Yes. All right, great job. That we grew today. Yeah. We grew today. I'm proud of you.
We grew today. The lesson is that Caitlin Clark did not save us. Our rookie didn't carry us. Superstar. Just general praise for growth and cohesion. But things got worse. Stephanie White discovered her voice. When she went up to the stage for the news conference following the game, she had a lot to say. Please don't talk about Caitlin Clark.
I think I said this when C was drafted here. It's like when you have the bookends, when you have a point guard, and you have a center, that are special. You can build a team around that, and certainly then you add in Kelsey, who had already been here, and she had a quiet 19.
There was the algorithm, the mechanism for crediting everyone but Caitlin Clark. She said that she had a center as bookends, along with a point guard, that's Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. But she turned to Kelsey right away. Kelsey Mitchell received a low score of 19. Stephanie White wants to share that story. But Kelsey Mitchell had nearly cost them the match. When the Fever was up 5 points, Kelsey made a terrible last-minute layup attempt. It was a needless, self-serving shot that might have cost them everything. The ball was reduced to 3. After tumbling off her leg.as turmoil erupted, Stephanie White wanted to give herself credit for a composed 19. But Caitlin Clark didn't discover the real scheme until the very end of the game. That Kelsey Mitchell and Stephanie White had plotted against her. Stephanie White developed a play when everything was at stake and the score was tied in overtime. The play's objective was to bring the ball to Caitlin Clark. Pick and roll was a simple tactic that had worked well all along. The time of year. However, Stephanie White changed it. The ball was given to Caitlin instead of carrying out the play as planned. Clark was the clear choice and made 11 of 11 free throws. White decided to provide. Kelsey used force to get the ball to Mitchell. Caitlin Clark knew about it. She was truthful. In confusion, she raised her hands. She had received one item and been promised another.
She checked in the game. It's the same play. Same play as last time. I'm going to come off this screen, get 2 free throws. We're going to walk out of this gym, right? Okay, call a timeout. We get the ball at half. They lied to Caitlin Clark. And then Stephanie White has to explain herself after she almost cost them the...
They lied to Caitlin Clark. That's the critical moment. That time, everything broke. The ball was received by Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell dropped the pass. The asset was wasted, and it took a long time. There was chaos. As the camera moved to Caitlin Clark's face, everything became clear. She had completely given up on Stephanie White. Had a strong belief that this coach will help her.
Caitlin Clark, her hands up. What the heck happened? Kelsey Mitchell drops the pass. She knows they messed up. They try to get cute. Why would you do?
Why would you behave that way? Because Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell had made a decision. This choice is not credited to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark does not receive the final shot. Caitlin Clark is not the hero. Kelsey Mitchell would always be a part of the narrative, regardless of how poorly she did, how self-serving her decisions were, or how close she was to ruining the game. Because Stephanie and Kelsey Mitchell. White understood a fundamental idea. Caitlin Clark will soon discover that if she persisted in being the only take into account victories, all-time highs, and franchise survival, then she would leave as a result. Despite the fact that it was nonsensical from a basketball perspective, they planned to undermine her, minimize her significance, and thrust Kelsey Mitchell into the spotlight. Caitlin Clark kept an eye on everything that took place. She saw the trend. She knew the storyline. After a 30.7 comeback performance, Stephanie White would not even, in the changing room, mention her name. Stephanie White offered credit to the stage after changing her mind. To Kelsey Mitchell for forcing a terrible shot that nearly cost them the game. Stephanie White passed the ball to Kelsey Mitchell rather than Caitlin in the last moments of overtime. Clark, who shot 11 of 11 from the free throw line and was unquestionably the better choice. To fundamental basketball reasoning.
Clark has lost all faith in Stephanie White and her play calling.
Look at it.
She lied to her. She checked in the game. It's the same play. Same play as last time. I'm going to come off this screen, get 2 free throws. We're going to walk out of this gym, right? Okay, call a timeout. We get the ball at half. They lied to Caitlin.
That was the moment, that moment. Caitlin Clark knew she was done, at last. She understood that this wasn't about developing her, thus she was leaving as soon as her contract allowed. This was unrelated to winning titles. This was about an insecure coach who couldn't accept the situation and a resentful, experienced player.
Said no. You know the play. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. And then it gets worse. Look at the play they drew up. Throw it off the backboard? Come on. Caitlin Clark has no idea what the heck just went on.
This is crazy.
Even less rational was the next drama they devised. Throw it off the backboard during overtime. Caitlin Clark was standing there, confused, lost, and cut off from the plan. This was not a basketball contest. It was sabotage. But it was far more irritating because of this. The story told by Stephanie White was completely inconsistent with the actual stats. Caitlin Clark finished with a 30-point double-double, 32 points and 7 rebounds. Based on certain reports, she scored the most points and was 11 of 11 from the free throw line. She was the one who created the play. She gave the Fever a chance to win. Kelsey Mitchell scored a modest 19 points on 7 of 17 shots. They nearly lost the game due to her self-serving last-minute shot on an evening when the league's leading. She had a supporting role while the player took control.
Kelsey Mitchell was 7 of 17 for 19 points. Bro, she did. If this lady not scoring, she don't do nothing. She did have maybe this was a career high, 3 assists. I don't know. But like, you don't need to try to insert Kelsey Mitchell into.
It's not necessary to try to fit Kelsey Mitchell into every circumstance. But Stephanie White did. Relentlessly, pitifully, desperately. Because if Stephanie White acknowledged that Caitlin Clark was the cause, that they were winning, that she was leading the team, and that she was the one who made the difference, she would then need to confess once more. She didn't know how to train a famous person. She didn't know how to grow. Extraordinary talent. Trying to